Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. I apologize for this being late. I wanted to have this done over the weekend. However, I progressively lost my voice and it's still a little squeaky and scratchy. Oops. FreedomThroughAstrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. And there's my contact information. Standard YouTube copyright. No, I do not consent to having my content training AI LLMs. Keys to the reading, part one. I read what's called constellation-based astrology, also called true sidereal. What that means simply is it's astrology by the visible sky. In ancient times, astrologers were astronomers. They told you where the planet was in the sky, and then they interpreted it. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons back around 200 AD. And however, the constellations don't pay attention to us. They just kept doing what they do. They kept moving. It's where it's called precession of the equinox, and that's how we get our astrological ages. So according to tropical astrology, we're in the age of Aries, when in reality, we're in the age of Pisces. And it's provable through true sky astrology. And using the true or visible sky, there are 13 signs, not 12, between Scorpio and Sagittarius is a sign of a fucus. It's the symbol of the wounded healer. The symbols of a person holding a snake by the head and the tail. And the snake in ancient times symbolized knowledge. So where you're learning knowledge and then controlling it by the head and tail, you're controlling it and using it to do what? The mythos are very clear, using that knowledge to help you to heal. And then heal yourself, and then ideally you can heal others with similar wounds. I use the natural size of the constellations, which is what allows each sign to be its own size. For example, there are astrologers who make each sign 30-ish, around 30 degrees, when in reality, Virgo is huge at just under 50. Aries, Cancer, Libra, Scorpio, Fucus, individually, they're less than 25 degrees. And if you were to take, for example, by visible sky, Virgo, Leo, Pisces, and Sagittarius, those four signs take up over half of the sky, and then everybody else makes up the rest. So I use the natural size of the signs. That's how they were made in nature, and I respect that. And I use astrological midpoints instead of the IAU boundaries. There's your kitten commercial. The IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn. Athan Chimenti noted in his explorations when he was looking at the IAU boundaries that, for example, and this is his example, that stars from Scorpio were actually in a fucus. And so he took a look at the zodiac belt, last bright star of Scorpio, first bright star of a fucus. What's the midpoint? And that's the new boundary. I think it's, more accurate and works better. Keys to the reading, part two. I interpret using what's called evolutionary astrology, meaning these are lessons for you to learn. Each transit, there's an ideal outcome, an idealized outcome, and then there's a shadow, and you have freedom of choice. You're fated to face these transits. How you choose to work with them, that's a different story. So you have freedom of choice, and I respect and honor that. This is the weekly edition, so these are universal transits for everyone. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers, or as I call us, ground pounders. Dates and times are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone, as I do live outside of Buffalo, New York. I'm working within 1 degree of exact, because anything more than that, it gets overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed, and if I'm overwhelmed, you're lost. It really can get quite interesting. And the software which I'm using is Capricorn by Prometheus, which through the ISAA will be re-released soon. So we're looking forward to new versions of Capricorn, and it's really excited by some of the things that I'm hearing are being developed. It's really going to become even more powerful and still be affordable. These are the weekly transits for the week of April 13th through 19th, 2026. We do have the sun still in Pisces. It is finishing up Pisces and will be entering Aries soon, but we're still in Pisces, focusing on self-transcendence. It's your spirituality. The moon begins the week in Aquarius and ends in Taurus, so it is relatively stable this week, which is nice. We do have the full moon in Pisces on April 17th, which is, I believe, Friday at 7:04 a.m. So we'd be waking up to a new moon, or this is supposed to be a new moon. My God, this is new moon. How did I get full moon there, man? Did I have that even in my notes? So it's the new moon on Friday. My bad. Good thing I didn't record this yesterday or even try to. It's the new moon, so it's beginning of a new lunar month. Yay. Our active planets, definitely Mercury this week. Mercury has the most transits. He's got his running shoes on and he's going fast, followed in a very distant second by Mars. We do have a sign change. Venus is entering Taurus this week. We don't have any long transits. These are typically transits between the outer planets, Jupiter through Pluto and Chiron. Nothing happening right now in that realm, nor do we have any retrograde planets. So everything's moving forward. Get my doodle tool ready. So there we go. And as you can see, the transits are actually fairly steady through the week. They start out slow. We have some endings in the beginning here. And the new transits start slow and then they just cascade and you start getting more and more and more. So it builds into for those of us who are musically inclined, this week with transits is going to be a crescendo. As you go through the week, we're going to be adding more. Friday is going to be a particularly busy day because we do have that new moon. We do have all of this going on, plus the new moon and Venus entering Taurus. So Friday is really going to be the busy day or the intense day of the week. Let's see. Let's go to the moon. We'll start with the moon here as we always do. The moon in Aquarius starts in Aquarius Tuesday afternoon. It will enter Pisces, and Pisces is the second, depending on measurements. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It's either the second or third largest, and we don't get into Aries until Friday afternoon. And then Sunday morning, we enter Taurus, and we'll end the week in Taurus. So Sunday will be a nice, emotionally peace and calm day, but you still got a lot of Mercury transits. And when we come to our planetary transits, you can see right here, Mercury, 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 Mercury. We have, I'm just going to clear this up to make it look better. Those are all the transits of Mercury. Nice notification of rain. And as you can see, there you go. I mean, and Mercury is about learning and communication. So do pay attention. If there's a major theme for the week, I would say pay attention. Secondly, we do have Mars. So Mars makes a transit there. There it makes a transit. And I'm going to do a secondary because it gets transited by Mercury. So Mars is a distant second, like I said. And that's learning courage and assertiveness. Anything else? I think that's it. Oh, lot of conjunctions. And conjunctions are unions or fusions. These are two planets working in a partnership together. Very close, it can be very close and very intense energy. Do I have anything else? I think that's it. Clear all drawings, close that out. Okay. Little slug of water here. Okay. So from the weekend, Mars conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. This is courage to embrace your own spirituality. That's courage to be present, strength to be present. Neptune and Pisces, I like the way Stephen Forrest says it. Don't just do something, sit there, be present. Be in the moment. And Mars is saying have the courage to do that. And be aware of your higher spiritual potentials. And I think one of the, I hate to say this, but and I work in education. There's a lot of focus on the physical, here, now, hard things. But the lesson here is to pay attention to the spiritual. You know, and I always say spiritual, not religion. Religion is the rules of man. What is your connection to the divine? So this is you having the courage to work on your divine connections. The shadow here is falling into this fear-based fantasy, leaving you in self-created delusions or trying to escape the feelings of emptiness. Um, and this can also fuel religious extremism. And by say religious extremism, or I am talking, for example, if I come from a Christian fundamentalist background, I was involved in that movement, so I'll use it. That's fair for me to say, to use my own experiences. So that desire to control, in a way, control and manipulate and control people by fear, in a way. The other fear is agnosticism or atheism in my book. So there we go there. Sunday, Venus in Aries sextiling Jupiter. So this is your relationships and having courage in your relationships, finding an interest in the opportunity to learn, excuse me, an opportunity to communicate. Without my voice, I was not able to do that, but I could have done it by writing. And having that courage to speak out in that realm opens up the opportunity to learn. And Venus also deals with creativity, so having the courage to be creative opens up the door for you to learn more about your creative aspects. The shadow here, Venus, can be slick and manipulative, and in the shadow of Aries, that's fear. And fear can come out in anger, it can come out as cowardice. And yeah, I work in school, so I can tell you, you know, the kids who fall into fear can be really, really manipulative. We all know that. But it can be trying to control people in relationships or drive them. And that it creates a sense of nervousness and creates a crisis of confidence in your ability to communicate and your ability to learn. And it can actually sabotage your creativity as well. And also on Sunday, we have the moon in Aquarius. So, moon, your emotional self. And Aquarius, looking for authenticity, wanting to feel what you're really feeling. And open your heart up to authentic expression. What's really going in inside? Learn how to express that. The shadow is becoming disengaged and alienated from yourself and feeling what you believe people want you to feel. So Monday, today, April 13th, Mercury in Pisces, sextiling Uranus and Taurus. Again, learning about your spirituality. How's that creating an interest in your uh, becoming more authentic and finding the peace and stability that comes from that? Inspiration leading to peace in a way. The shadow here is being distracted and lost in fantasy, and this creates a sense of nervousness that leads to a loss of individuality, looking for the lazy way out, or it can create stubbornness. Taurus can be that lazy bull sitting on a field just doing nothing, or it can be the proverbial bull in a china shop. So, and you can have that, Uranus, selling out to the expectations of others because it's lazy or it's acting out to get a reaction from people. And all that's going to do is just create a big mess. On Tuesday, the moon enters Pisces, looking for inspiration and a fresh vision at this moment. So it's being emotionally aware of what literally in the higher realms of what's going on around you. And this is about great inner spiritual development as well. Shadow here is be careful of withdrawing from life or getting lost in self-delusion and self-created fantasies. Also, avoid numbing yourself to the higher experiences. Hold on. Wednesday, Mars in Pisces sextiling Pluto. Mars in Pisces, spiritual courage, creating an interest in the work of transformation. Yeah, Mars teaches you courage and assertiveness. And Pisces is the spiritual. I would say, in a way, the spiritual warrior, it could be, or asserting yourself in your spirituality. And the sextile interest. And Pluto is the planet of transformation, deep inner work. And in Capricorn, it's literally, taking remember what Capricorn is. It's the sea goat. It's half seal, half goat. Well, so a seal, water, taking inspiration, and the goat, climbing the mountain, making it real. So this is doing the work of taking that spiritual inspiration and making it real, and making it real in your life and a part of your life. And Pluto is that planet of transformation. The shadow here is falling into fear, and it's fear based on illusions or delusions. Creates a sense of nervousness that leads to instead of transformation, it leads to deep woundingness, cynicism, nihilism, darkness, and Capricorn. This again, deeper pessimism, control issues, you trying to control other people or alienating yourself from other people and becoming alone. And my note here says deep anger can fuel a cynical and hurtful attitude, and it can be very destructive and damaging. Also on Wednesday, Sun conjunct Chiron in Pisces. So the Sun is, like your core. I say it's your core identity. It's really who you are at heart. And the transits of the Sun through the sky is the growth of that natal Sun sign. So if you're looking for inspiration, conjunct Chiron, focused on healing and releasing spiritual wounds and understanding also wounds from a higher perspective. And sometimes when you understand an injury from a different perspective, higher perspective, it does help you to heal and release it. The shadow here is getting lost in fantasies, the ego. And this can be that ego that burns bright. It can also be that dark star that doesn't want to shine. So it's the false ego, getting lost in a fantasy and a refusal to heal, which can deepen existing wounds. And so you can be even wounding yourself even more and wounding others. And on Thursday, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Mercury, learning and communication. Neptune, spirituality. So this is spiritual learning, spiritual communication. Pay attention to your spirituality on this like Thursday, Friday. Very potent lessons could come through. Yeah, I have. Be prepared to learn new spiritual lessons. The shadow here is getting stuck in a mentally rigid state and mentally rigid ideas, and that leads to becoming lost in illusion. This can be that know-it-all or person who can't learn, getting lost in this illusion. And worry or intellectualizing experiences can fuel a desire to escape, numbing yourself to the pains of life, numbing yourself to the experiences that are coming towards you, what life is trying to show you. And Mercury is also the art of paying attention. So it's a lot of distractions. So it's getting distracted away from spirituality or distracting, chasing rabbit holes when you really shouldn't be. And Friday, we start with that new moon in Pisces. So this is a focus on spirituality. We do have, and so it's a focus on spirituality. The moon is looking for inspiration, and it's conjunct Chiron as well. Chiron does have a conjunction to both the sun and the moon during this. I should have widened that out just a little bit, but I didn't. They're all there at 37 degrees. So as you're focusing on your spirituality and learning about it and finding that inspiration, that can lead to this deep opportunity to heal. And so this is going to be a deeply healing experience for the sun, for your ego, your core identity. And you came here to learn to have a healthy ego. And also your moon, your emotional self, your soul. So this is an opportunity to heal your soul, all on a very deep level. Understand situations from a higher perspective. Hopefully, ideally, things click. You can heal, release wounds, serve as inspiration for others as well. So, yeah. My notes here say take time spent in spiritual practices or quiet can be restorative and provide a fresh vision for who you are and your life at this time. Very powerful. The shadow is getting lost in fantasy and illusion, numbing yourself to the pains that you've experienced. And this leaves you feeling lost, leaves you feeling empty, conjunct Chiron, deeper wounding, not heal, refusing to heal. And ultimately, you could walk away in the shadow feeling completely lost and wounded. You know, the walking, they call them the walking wounded. I would say something else, but that's a trademarked or copyrighted TV show, and I don't want to use any copyright infringements here. So let me clear that. So yeah, walking wounded. Close that out. Also on Friday, Venus enters Taurus. Venus rules Taurus. So this is kind of a homecoming. So this could be a very powerful time. And Venus, relationships, connecting with others, um, also your creativity. Venus, transiting Venus is also about rest and finding peace. So this is an opportunity to find peace and strengthen your relationships. Opportunity to calm down and be more artistic. Maybe get involved in learning arts more. Um, or just taking time to calm down. See what else do I have in there? Yeah, the shadow here is Venus can be very slick and manipulative and get stuck in these rigid patterns. And that can leave you feeling drained, tired, and exhausted. It can be also the lazy way out because Taurus can be very lazy. Trying to control others can come across as laziness and require more effort than it's worth. Trying to control your creativity can actually drain it. So it can be very disastrous and all that. And instead of being a time of refreshing rejuvenation, it can be a time of exhaustion. And Friday afternoon, after we experience the new moon, and then the moon enters Aries. So emotionally, you're up for a challenge and you're ready to be a little courageous, and opportunities can show up for challenges or competition. You're ready for it. You can handle it. Be aware of your emotional strengths, and this can help you to succeed. So a little burst of energy before for the weekend. The shadow here is falling into fear, and that can be anger. So be careful of emotional outbursts, or this can be cowardice and hiding away, not expressing what you're feeling. And Saturday and Sunday are going to be very busy, especially with these Mercury transits. Mercury and Pisces sextiling Pluto and Capricorn. So as you're learning about your spirituality, creating an interest in this work, doing this work of inner transformation, this deep transformational work, deep healing as well. So the spiritual learning can help you with this doing all this work of inner transformation. And breakthrough in perceptions can result in that. The shadow here is becoming mentally distracted or mentally rigid, lost in fantasy, and leads to a loss of focus of what is going on in your life and fueling a cynical attitude, feelings of isolation and loneliness. Yeah, I'll go with that. On Saturday, we do have Mars conjunct Saturn, having the courage to grow and mature in your spirituality, your ability to be present, your ability to be in the moment. I remember when I was doing a different type of astrology, there are astrologers who will teach you that this is an epic disaster. No, this is the courage to grow and mature in Pisces. It's your spirituality. Now, the shadow here is that epic disaster that's falling into fear and control issues. This is deep religious fundamentalism. And it can be that I come from that fundamentalist background, so it can be that, or it can be deep atheism and denial of all things spiritual as well. And that can have you falling into isolation and loneliness and pessimism and ultimately failure. On Sunday, we do have the moon entering Taurus. Hold on a second. And it's the weekend. You need a break. So take some time to find some calm, peace, and quiet. It will transit Uranus. So again, feel be willing to feel authentic. Um, Take time to calm down, find peace, and take the opportunities for peace when they do come up. Be careful developing or getting stuck in a stubborn attitude or a lazy attitude. Taurus can be very lazy and stubborn and stuck in the rut. Um, and it can be that, and again, the bull in the china shop. Aries is sudden outbursts. Taurus, for me, that bull in the china is destructive outbursts. And Aries is really quick and fast. Taurus just keeps burning. I've worked on farms. When a bull gets when a goat got angry, it was angry, and then like, okay, this is over, big deal. When a bull got angry, you just got out of that pasture and you stayed out for a long time. Um, Joy of joy. So do watch out for that. Do take time to calm down and rest. And that's where we'll start with the moon next week. We do have Mercury conjunct Mars. And Mercury is going to be conjunct Mars and then conjunct Saturn. So I'm going to break it down into each individual component. Then I will summarize it all up at the end. Hold on a second. So Mercury conjunct Mars is learning courage in your spiritual life, learning spiritual courage, having the courage to also learn about spiritual things. So there's that. And that can help you be able to transcend situations and learn more about your spirituality and learn things that can be maybe you're a little afraid of, but having the courage to step into and learn about them, they can become strengthening in a way. The shadow here is that rigid mindset, thinking that you know it all or can't learn, and that falling into fear. And this is fantasy-based fears. That's that's falling into fear based on fantasies and illusion. And mental struggles can have you feeling lost. Then Mercury will be conjunct Saturn. So this is learning to mature spiritual. So step one, having the courage, learning to have courage with your spirituality. And then as you're learning it, maturing in it. So this could be a very powerful time of spiritual maturity and spiritual growth. The shadow is getting distracted and lost in these mental mazes. And conjunct Saturn, fear, despair. This can also fuel. This can be really deep, rigid religious fundamentalism or denial of spirituality at all, and lost in this rigid, controlling mindset. Whether it is that religious fundamentalism or that deep, what I'm going to call atheism and denial of all things spiritual, all things spiritual. Worry, nervousness can lead to a desire to control what cannot be controlled. So this could be a very powerful experience, and that is where we'll end the week. So I made it through. You want to know what I had to go through to get through school today? First day of the last 10 weeks, I really needed to be there for orientation for my new classes. Yes, I teach library skills classes. So do follow me on Facebook, Instagram. You're watching me on YouTube, but I do daily deep dives on Facebook and Instagram. I'm also on the Digital Soul Space. These three here are making billions of dollars off your data and not sharing much of that with you. Digital Soul Space is hosted on the Mighty Network, so you're controlling your data and how it's shared and who it can be shared with. It's also, I call it the spiritual safe space of the internet. We have 4 great moderators that keep it a troll-free zone. There's a free version and there's a paid version. Your first month, you get access to the whole site. And then afterwards, you get to make a decision whether you want to just work with a free version, which has limited access, or you want to pay and support the full version. All money for that, when you pay for a subscription, goes to paying for the website and maintaining the website. All the web work is done by volunteer, is done by Michael Robert, and it's all he does that is a labor of love. It's all volunteer. He doesn't get paid for it at all. Here's your cat commercial. This is Miss Smokey. A wonderful. She's a long hair, smoky gray cat, and it's really soft for her. She's a real sweetheart. So do consider the digital soul space. And I do astrology on there. There are other astrologers, but we have people who do tarot. That is, this is Silky. This is Smokey's twin brother, but he's all black. And he's a long haired black cat, again, with that nice, soft, silky fur. I'm going to get him out of the way. There you go, buddy. But I do tarot. There are people who do crystals, herbalism, wide variety of oracle decks, um, wide variety of spiritual practices and other things. It's an amazing place to hang out. Go check it out. Excuse me. I do readings and packages. My acuity scheduling is screwed up. So if you do want to if you do want to schedule something with me, do email me. It's just for this week till I get my credit card straightened out because there's something screwed up on it. There's like it's not like one big charge. There's nickels and dime charges. So we're getting a new credit card and everything straightened out with that. It's a bit of a mess. But I do readings and packages. Quick six is if you want to see how your chart changes from tropical to true sky sidereal or true sky astrology. You can see how it's different. I hit six key points. The birth chart or natal chart in evolutionary astrology, your birth chart is your birth contract. It's not who you are, it's who you came to become. So I map out your personal life lessons for you. Excuse me. Your karmic chart or a past life reading. If you have these patterns that repeat in your life, you're wondering, why is this happening to me? It can be a special lesson, either from a past life or a special contract that you signed up for. I can help you understand that. I do horoscopes. That's why you're watching this. 1 year, any 12 months, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And for that 1 month, it could be new moon to new moon, or first to the last day of the month, or first to the first day of the next month. And then I sell packages at 4 different levels that combine these readings. So thank you, like, follow, share. Do sign up for the newsletter. If you go to my website, you get a pop-up. All I need is an email, once a week newsletter. And I am working on getting that out this week somehow until I get my acuity all fixed up. It's all tied up in that mess. So do sign up for the newsletter. It's a once a week newsletter. It gives you all this information first, usually. Thank you very much. Have the best possible week. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Have a great week. Thank you, and I appreciate your patience.